And Drake is trying to move and make plays.
Snap to Maye. Looks to his left. He pumps. He throws. Bolted in the end zone. Touchdown, Patriots. And who caught it? TreVeyon Henderson. A hat trick for the rookie.
I don't play fantasy football, but who's got that kid on it, man? 3 touchdowns tonight. You're breaking records. He's going to get another one, too. I'm telling you, he's going to get in the end zone 4 times.
Oh, but he didn't score 4. Scott Zolak taking an L on the same night that his beloved Patriots got a 9th W. The first team in the NFL, Nick Shook, to clinch a winning record for the 2025 season is the New England Patriots. 27-14. Yes, that was also Bob Sochi on WBZ. 27-14, I think, is about accurate in terms of how this game felt. The Jets were competitive, but ultimately you never felt that the Patriots were going to lose. All it took, Nick, was Ramondre Stevenson and Terrell Jennings getting hurt for TreVeyon Henderson to become that dude, and he delivers with 3 scores on a night where everyone got to enjoy the young Patriots players.
It's like I tweeted during the game. I'm old enough to remember when TreVeyon Henderson was barely even a part of the game plan.
Right.
Now he's the star, the central figure, at least when it comes to scoring touchdowns for them tonight. A classic Patriots performance, classic in the new age of Patriots with Drake Maye at the controls and powering this offense, and then Henderson finishing the drives off with touchdowns. A different game than what we saw against Tampa Bay last week, which is perfectly fine and very encouraging for the Patriots, who on a short week come home and largely handle their division rivals in a game in which they just needed to take care of business. And once again, their quarterback puts together a fantastic performance. 25-34 might not look that great to you, but I promise you there are so many highlight throws from this game that are worth watching on NFL Plus. You got to go back and check it out. Drake Maye had another great night.
You know what's crazy is I think that drops his completion percentage on the season, which is nuts. And he doesn't top 300 yards, which he actually hasn't done yet as a pro. So Mac Jones, still the last Patriot to top 300 yards. And yet, as flashy as the Henderson touchdowns were, and they were interesting for different reasons, the offensive line did a good job on both of them, and we'll listen to those later. Drake Maye's season is one of the biggest stories in the NFL. Not just that he's that dude, and we're actually going to do a little redraft after we talk about this game, picking who we would take out of the 2024 QB draft class, just like our top 6 or 7, if we want to include Spencer Rattler in that mix. And obviously Maye's going to be at or near the top of that, depending on how you feel, Shook. But like, he's at the level where he's elevating the people around him. It's not like the pass protection has been great. Tonight, I would say, considering the opponent, it was okay. It was up and down, but it was okay. But it's him handling the pressure and then elevating guys like Pop Douglas and Mac Hollins and Stefon Diggs, even at the later points of his career, and making them look better. What to you it was kind of the most impressive part of this performance by Maye?
Undoubtedly, it was his ability to sit amid pressure in a pocket that was ever changing, step up effortlessly, keep his eyes down the field, and hit precise throws with such precision that I'm, on my couch watching, just going, wow, multiple times, just audibly saying, wow. There was a throw he had over the middle to Stefon Diggs that Diggs dropped. That as he took the throw, I went, oh, no, you didn't. Like, just there's no way you're making this attempt. He does it. He steps up in the pocket and hits another receiver with incredible precision. He does it to set up a touchdown. Like, it's just to move the chains. There's one play where he's rolling to the sideline. It looks like he's going to give up on it. He channels his inner Josh Allen and just tosses a little soft one to Diggs. That moves the chains as well. Like, it's just, no matter the situation, he is so calm and poised for a guy who is only in his second year. And you combine that with what I will say is elite accuracy, and we've seen it especially over the last couple of weeks, and you've got a quarterback who can pretty much handle anything, do everything, and propel your offense forward.
And there will be more tests, and they continue to pass these tests of taking care of business against inferior competition, which at this point, it's fair to say not only the Jets are, but like next week's matchup against the Bengals. Like, that's a game that the Patriots should win. And so far, they keep winning those games, and they keep winning them by a couple of scores. But you're so right. That incompletion, by the way, to Diggs over the middle, which at that point was the best throw of the night, is a great reason to watch Prime Vision, because you realize how just completely ballsy that throw was. At that point, he was 11 for 11. That was actually his first incompletion on the night. The push pass, to me, was part of the drive that really showed what Drake Maye is all about, and that was the second drive of the third quarter. It's only a 14-7 game at that point. It starts with the drive with a throw where he layers one in to Hunter Henry, like he has to go over the underneath defender. Oh, no, to Mac Hollins. The underneath receiver was Hunter Henry. Hollins actually makes a nice catch for him to start that drive. Then it's the deep over to Stefon Diggs, and that was the play where Will McDonald wins cleanly off the snap on the right side, and Maye just calmly steps up in the pocket, and there's also some pressure on the left side too. And I'm with you, just the pocket presence is awesome. And then the next play after that is the Diggs push pass where he is just in create mode, because the comparisons and the numbers, obviously he's playing for the Patriots, so all these numbers that he's setting, the first guy to do this since Tom Brady, and there's nothing similar about them except for Tom Brady's superpower was pocket presence. I always thought that's the thing he was the greatest at, that, compared to any other quarterback that I've ever seen. And Maye does it in a different way, but a lot of times his pocket presence and his ability to get away from defenders is staying inside the pocket. It's not rolling out and throwing. He can do that sometimes, but a lot of times it's staying in the pocket, and that's what he did tonight. And yeah, a couple of his best passes even weren't caught, like that one to Diggs, and then he had a 50-yarder down the field to Mac Hollins that he hit him in stride, and then it was a nice play by Brandon Stevens to knock it out. So I'm with you. It doesn't seem too big for him, and man, if this is going to help Patrick's points in the MVP conversation, we'll have to talk about it Sunday, but he's in the mix. He's in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, even the touchdown pass to Henderson was a thing of beauty. Like, it's a play in which he breaks the pocket, looks like he may run. The defense is fully prepared for him to take off because, by the way, he's one of the best running quarterbacks in the NFL, especially when it comes to extending the play and finding guys downfield. And then he just calmly off one foot tosses it over a defender. Oh, there's Henderson in the back of the end zone. Again, great accuracy, makes it look easy, effortless. Like, he's doing everything so well right now. And I just can't help but enjoy watching him play football every single week. And to go back on that Brady point real quick, he had one other superpower, which is his pre-snap diagnosis of coverages and helping determine where he was going to go, which that came with years of experience. Maye, I mean, I feel like I don't even need, like, that throw that you mentioned, the one over Henry to Mac Hollins. I thought when I watched that live, oh God, he just forced that ball. I didn't realize that he layered that one in that well. Like, we're just talking about a quarterback who's exceeding all expectations.
I honestly don't think Patriots fans have fully come to terms with just how preposterous.
No, they're enjoying it in real time because that little pop pass, you heard the crowd like, ooh, like, oh my God.
Like, they are, but for whatever reason, I think people just didn't see last year how good he already was before getting McDaniels and everything. And the types of things that he's doing as a second-year quarterback, like when you bottom out as a team, the hope is that you get a high draft pick and you get one of those dudes. And it just, they're taking it for granted that it's actually happened this way. And not just like a dude that's like pretty good, like Trevor Lawrence is maybe not even in that category, but one that, has a chance to be one of the 5 to 8 capital D dudes for a while. Now, you mentioned the pre-snap stuff, and I think you see it with how defenses are approaching him, and they're good at adjusting, and that's where McDaniels deserves credit because they played way more zone than they normally play tonight, and it took them a little while to adjust because I think they wanted to prevent what he normally does as a zone guy. I mean, as a scrambler. And in theory, like, their running game should be helped more by Maye, but it's really been inconsistent. Even with TreVeyon Henderson, like, it's under 3.5 yards per carry, but they have been better in the red zone lately. Let's actually listen to the first touchdown of the night by TreVeyon Henderson.
They will squat under center. He takes the snap. He pitches it near side for Henderson. He darts inside a defender. Spins inside the 4. Driving the pile with an assist. Touchdown, Patriots. He got a push from a pair of teammates. He's in for 6.
You got to be happy about this rookie.
Yeah, Henderson is showing that he can run with a little power, and they're showing that they can mix it up with Crisis Tonga. Chris Tonga in at fullback on some of these, and an extra offensive lineman, Ben Brown. So they're going heavy offensive line, and that's at least help them in the red zone lately.
Yeah, and I love this trend in the NFL where we're just throwing 6 linemen. We're throwing linemen in as fullbacks, inside the 10-yard line, sometimes inside the 5, and just playing man ball. Let's just run you over and block better than you can. But that play in particular really demonstrates why TreVeyon Henderson was a second-round pick, why he was considered one of the best running backs in this class. in 2025. We knew he had the home run ability from his time at Ohio State, but I think a lot of people didn't understand that he could run with the power that you just described and that we just saw on that play. Now, of course, his teammates all rally behind him to push him over those last few yards to get in the end zone, but he's got to keep those legs turning. What made him special on that play was catching the toss and instantly seeing where he needed to go, putting a foot in the ground, and then bursting forward to evade the defender who had properly read the play and could have cut it down in the backfield, and then breaking a tackle. Those are all the things you want to see from a running back who has top end speed, who can hit the big play, but you need him to be able to thrive in the situations in which the lane is not perfect for him, and he's got to make something out of it. He certainly did that tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if vision is his strength overall. It was great on that play. They still aren't that effective on a down-to-down basis. Their success rate tonight was 35%. Last week against the Bucs, they were actually dead last in rushing success rate for Week 10. Despite those 2 long runs by Henderson. So on a snap-to-snap basis, they're struggling a little bit. They're better when they do the pin-pull stuff. Nate Tice pointed this out on Blue Sky that, look, when they get a guy pulling in motion, they have big-time plays, but pretty much any of their other zone or like duo runs, like it's not really working for them. Michael Onwenu had a great block on that second touchdown, though. So good job by them there. I do notice like how when they need a play so often in the passing game, it's Stefon Diggs, and he goes over 100 yards tonight. And it's not an every week thing where he's going to have this type of night. He goes 9 for 105. But, man, when they need a third down, like it's Stefon Diggs. He had a couple crucial ones tonight. And even on the first touchdown drive, I'm thinking Drake Maye threw a fastball in on like 3rd and medium, and Diggs made a great catch that only went for 3 or 4 yards, but it set up a 4th and 2 so that they could actually go for it. And it's been an underrated part of Maye's accuracy is that between Hollins and Henry and Kayshon Boutte, when he's been out there, they really missed him tonight because Kyle Williams is always part of these miscommunications. Those guys have made a lot of tough catches for Drake Maye, so they deserve credit to Stefon Diggs more than anyone.
I remember we spent a lot of time this summer debating how this receiving corps was going to shake out, which guys might make the team, and through most of it, Diggs, arrived ahead of schedule in his recovery from his injury. But I felt like we're pretty cautious on what we might expect from him. I think he's exceeded every expectation possible for him. And that's even for a guy like Stefon Diggs. At this stage in his career, he has given the Patriots more return on investment than I think they ever could have imagined. And I think that that's also what is lost in the whole Drake Maye, the build of the narrative and the excitement around him is the fact that he's also making a lot of magic with a guy who's, established a career for making magic with other quarterbacks. Diggs has been a huge part of this offense this year.
And they have him signed for the next 2 years at good prices for them. Now, he's a year-to-year type of guy at this point, and it wouldn't surprise me if like this turns into the honeymoon year and his age 33 season next year, which he's almost certainly going to be back for it now because he's playing so well. It doesn't go as well. That's how these things go. But they're really happy, I think, that they have him under contract, and he's been really important to them. On the Jets side, look, the passing game is limited, but it was just a case where tonight I think they took turns making different errors. A.D. Mitchell drops a dime down the field on one third down early. On another third down, Justin Fields misses A.D. Mitchell pretty wide open on the play. They have a really great first drive. The Patriots continue to give up first drive touchdowns. It's 6 times this season they've given up first drive touchdowns. But the running game and Justin Fields running the ball aggressively kind of went away for most of the night. The Patriots lost Milton Williams pretty early in this game to an ankle injury. He played under 10 snaps, so that's a concern for them. But ultimately, no Garrett Wilson on the field. You kind of figured the Jets would be limited offensively, and Fields isn't showing that like he has the ability to kind of overcome what's around him, despite pretty good pass pro.
Yeah, good pass pro, and honestly, he had a few good throws, and I'm not taking this stance as a Justin Fields defender because you can see the limitations. But and better pass pro than we've seen for most of the year, which is a nice, encouraging, thing to see from the Jets. But like he had a few throws that were just flat out dropped, and most of them were A.D. Mitchell. And I'm a believer in A.D. Mitchell if he can figure out how to catch the football because he runs great routes.
Seems important for a receiver.
I know. Finish the job. You run great routes. You get open. He's putting the ball right on you. You got to catch it. You could tell he was kind of in his own head which has been the story of his second season in the NFL, really. But I mean, at one point there in the fourth quarter, Mitchell comes off the field after dropping another pass. And I look at the guys out there and it's like John Mechie and Tyler Johnson. And I'm just thinking like half of this receiving core wasn't even on this team to start the season. Like this is such a team in transition. It's a tough situation for Fields, but it is not the sole explanation for why this offense struggles. I was surprised to see him do better as a passer tonight, even if some of those passes weren't completed because he's been so bad for them for most of this season. And yet the result ends up being the same because they can't get out of their own way very often.
He runs for 67 yards with a touchdown. Need to see more of that, I think, from him.
Yeah, but then the Patriots shut it down in the second half. Like, it wasn't really a viable option. And especially when you go down by 2 scores, you know they can't stretch the field. You knew this game was basically over, which is the story of a team that's 2-8.
Yeah, they had a 2-game winning streak coming in. And even though he threw the ball better, he ends up with 116 yards and 26 attempts. Although, obviously, if A.D. Mitchell had caught a couple of those passes, that'll be it. I'm already seeing the this should be the last we see of Justin Fields stuff from, for instance, The Athletic. I saw put that out there, and like maybe, first of all, Tyrod Taylor is very unlikely to stay healthy for the rest of the season, which it would be still like 7 more games. Like that's probably not going to happen anyways. I think they have some pieces. Their tackles are good. Olu Fashanu and on the other side, Membu have played well, and I think that's something to build around along with Breece Hall, but just too many mistakes, including penalties in big spot. A couple like unnecessary roughness penalties that they didn't need. They had a holding penalty, which gave the Patriots a field goal attempt at the end of the first half. It was just a lot of mental errors, and I just don't get this thing with Aaron Glenn. He won't say who his quarterback is until like game time. It was literally Thursday afternoon, and Albert Breer was like, Justin Fields is probably going to be the starting quarterback. You don't really see that too often in 2025, but it's like, why such a mystery? And then the way Glenn is sometimes acting when reporters ask him questions. Here's Aaron Glenn actually earlier this week when asked about Garrett Wilson, who, by the way, was placed on injured reserve on Thursday.
I'm going to pass on talking about injuries. Since Rich, he's not here, has all the answers, so you guys can get all the injuries from Rich.
It's like he's talking about Rich Cimini, by the way, who reported that Garrett Wilson would be out 3 to 4 weeks, and then a couple of days later they put him on injured reserve, which literally announces that he's out for 4 weeks, and he gets I don't know.
It's just unnecessary. It's a first-year coach kind of trying to figure it out. It reminds me a little bit of Gerard Mayo and the way that he dealt with the media.
He's better.
The Patriots last season. He's better at it than Mayo was. Mayo was kind of a disaster in that department. But it's just like, it's unnecessary. I understand you're frustrated and you're upset that information gets out, but seal the cracks in the building.
Why
man.
are you
it's
so
not
frustrated?
His fault. He's doing his job.
It's the agent. It's also like, don't worry about other things. It's really not that important. Shout out to Christian Barmore, by the way, who got a sack tonight. It is his first since missing almost all last season with blood clots, but he had a couple pressures. He has been good for the Patriots defense, which I still have my questions about. I don't think they're going to be good enough to get through an AFC gauntlet. People in Foxborough are dreaming about the Super Bowl because if you look at their schedule, they are now 9-2. They are going to be heavy favorites in at least like 4 of their remaining games. And then they also have the Bills and the Ravens on the schedule. Like, it is pretty easy to see them getting to 13 wins, which will give them a good chance at winning the division and possibly even being the 1 seed. And then, of course, you dream about the Super Bowl. I have my questions about whether the defense could get it done in this AFC. But if ever there was a year to do it, I guess this might be the year. Depends where the other guys. What are you buying before we move on to the quarterbacks? Patriots, like, where do you put them in the AFC hierarchy of teams most likely to make the Super Bowl? I'll say it that way. And so you have the Bills, of course, you have the Chiefs, you have the Chargers, you have the Ravens. If you want to throw in the Steelers out of respect, and the Broncos, certainly. Where do you put the Patriots in that group?
I mean, let's not forget the Colts too.
Colts. Oh my God. I've been banging the Colts drum. Yes.
Okay. So I want to give some credit to like this defense has put together a season that is much better than we thought it would be. Like the play of Caleb Von Chason, for example.
Yep.
You know, he's leading them in sacks. He's been great for most of this year. But and you have Christian Gonzalez back there, and you got Marcus Jones and everything else. But this is also a defense that was largely patched together by a lot of offseason additions. Milton Williams being one of them, Robert Spillane being another one. And I saw a weakness tonight that makes me concerned about how they could perform against a team like Baltimore. I don't think they have a linebacker who could effectively spy a running quarterback, and that could be their biggest weakness.
Jack Gibbons isn't getting it done for you? Jack Gibbons played pretty well. He's actually played pretty well for them since he got inserted in a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I hear you.
But Gibbons, Spillane, none of those guys could spy a Lamar. And so I think that could be their weakness. But I do believe...
Or a Mahomes, or maybe even Daniel Jones.
And that's going to take a lot of discipline and defensive integrity. And I don't know if they've gotten enough time together to really do that in the biggest spots. But I do think that they'll give every team they play a game because of what we've seen from this offense. It's a little bit inflated. Like there was, 3 or 4 years ago where the Vikings, I was like, that's one of the most overrated 12, 13 win teams, wherever they were that year, that I've ever seen. The most fraudulent. And they proved that when they lost to the Giants in the playoffs. I wouldn't say the same thing about these Patriots. I just don't think their ceiling is as high as the Super Bowl, so I would agree with you.
Yeah, it's going to depend on the matchups, but like I said, it's crazy. 9-2, it does make me feel like, okay, we're here. We're at a point in the season where a team can be 9-2, and yeah, they only have 6 games left, and 4 of them are against the Bengals, Giants, Jets, and Dolphins. Doesn't mean they're going to win all 4, but they'll be favored in all of them. I give them a chance to win any game, but one and done in the playoffs also wouldn't be a surprise depending on the matchup, but I give them a chance because of their quarterback. Let's take a break, and we will redraft the 2024 quarterback class after the break.